Hello, good evening. I've already started seeing your messages, Mr. Sorry, Mr. Joseph. Your message was the first message I saw, and I'm like, I am owing a lot of people. I took yesterday off because I was thinking I would clear a lot of backlog, and I am back again. No back, the backlogs were not cleared. Good evening. I don't know what I'm speaking, Jerry. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, wherever you are. Let me say thank you for waiting for me. I know that a lot of people have been waiting for this live because I didn't come on yesterday and I'm coming on today. So let me say thank you, first of all, to Mr. Winnie. Thank you for joining me. Dorothy, thank you for joining me. Joseph, thank you for joining me. I'm sorry. It's part of the reasons why I couldn't come on live yesterday was because I thought I would clear all the things that I promised to send. I'm owing a lot of people things like response to emails, things that resources that I'm supposed to send. I'm owing a lot, like a lot of them, and it keeps piling up, which I would clear. Even as I just turned my eye now, I just saw one message just now. So I'm so sorry. You will get it by God's grace. You get it tomorrow. Which again, I said that today might be no. Today will not. I'm just trying to see that today doesn't be the last day. Probably on the 31st of August will be the last day for me. That means I'll take tomorrow and 30th of August off to clear all the backlogs that have been piling up. A lot has been piling up over the weeks, and I just have to take time to clear them off. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. I really wish I had the time. I wish I had, but that see, it's exactly 24 hours seems so small. Like, and if I tell you that I have maybe like 3 hours, 3 hours sleep per day, 3 hours sleep per day is just for a human being is just too small, and I try as much as possible to just see how I can push. But the more I push out, the more it piles up back again. The more I push out, the more it piles up back again. I'm owing a lot of people a lot, a lot, a lot. I'm so sorry. So hopefully on the 31st, which is August 31st, I'll come on live. But tomorrow and 30th, I would have to take those 2 days off to see how much backlogs I can clear. Like, I really need to clear them because this month, a lot of pressures, like a lot of people are trying to push some things in because of some changes that are going on, especially those who are trying to come to start study in Canada. Arize, thank you for joining me, my special person. So I have people who are trying to beat IRCC again. If you're coming to study in Canada, IRCC has said that they have increased their proof of funds requirements from 20,635 for one person to $22,000 for one person. So a lot of people are trying to beat that deadline by applying for their study permits before the increase takes place effective September 1. So because of that, all the people that were thinking, oh, okay, we would apply by September, there's time, but everybody is now rushing to say, no, let's push in the application before that September 1. So because of that, I have a lot of people that are waiting, and then even people with PR applications that are waiting. So I don't want to disappoint in fact, my clients, some of my clients are not happy with me. I don't want to be disappointing them. I'm supposed to be attending to them, but I mean, when these things happen like this, we do not have a choice. It's not something we have control of. So please bear with me. I will not be coming on live tomorrow and on the 30th. Funny enough, 30th I was supposed to come on live on the 30th because that was the day I officially landed in Canada. And I actually wanted to talk about my journey so far, my 9 years journey, 9 years in Canada journey, and the lessons I've learned so far on that day. But maybe I will do it on the 31st of August, which is the last day of August, the August special offer. So on the 31st of August, I'll be talking about my 9 years journey in Canada, and if there are any immigration questions that I need to answer, I will answer those questions on the 31st of August. So this is me, please, begging. I'm really begging you guys, please. I'm sorry I'm disappointing you guys. I'm really disappointing you guys for not coming on live tomorrow and next tomorrow as planned. Some people are suffering, so I have to clear the backlog so that it doesn't get bad, or it doesn't go worse beyond what it is at the moment. Okay, so thank you so much. I just had to apologize ahead of time. Thank you so much for joining me this evening, and we will be talking about construction workers. How is it going wherever you are? How has the weather been? Midday, okay, no problem. Even my calendar for September, I had to block it because the pressure was too much. The pressure was too much. I had to block it. So, yeah, please bear with me. Okay, so let's on Monday. I feel Monday. Yes, I'm owing extra days. Let me just clear this backlog because wow, Arize, you guys are the one enjoying the 30 degrees now. Eh? You are the ones enjoying the 30 degrees now. We are still looking for 30 degrees in New Brunswick. Anyway, so the days that I don't hold these sessions, I will hold it. Yeah, I will hold it in September. Like I said, there are people whose applications we thought we will do in September, but because IRCC changed the proof of funds requirement for study permit holders, now those people are like, we have to submit the application before 1st of September. So there's a lot of backlog. I have to just attend to all of them between today, tomorrow, and next tomorrow. Like, I've been awake since 3 a.m. till now. I've not slept, and my eyes are turning me, but I don't have any choice. I don't have any choice, so it is well. Okay, so let me not waste too much of your time. Let's go straight to talking about immigration, because I mean that's what brought us here. That's why we are holding the live session. As much as I can, as the information I can share, I will share them. And I want to know if there are construction people here, trades people, engineering people, people within the engineering sector. Yeah, if you're here, let me know so that I am able to really, really treat it. Just give me some seconds. Let me just sort somebody out. Somebody just sent a message and I need to quickly sort that person out now so that the person can let me be. If there's any trades person, please say yes in the comment section so that I can quickly attend to you. It is well. Okay, so for the trades people, yes, so for the trades people, okay, so today is for trades, construction, engineering, yeah, trades, that sector. The trade sector is very broad, very, very broad, and construction workers are actually in demand in Canada. Will I say, in terms of level of demand, is it high or average or low? I can't really say if it is high at the moment. I would say it is average, right? It is average. It was high. It was high before, some years ago, and then it moved from high to average. That this is my own opinion. This is my own observation. Let me not say it's a broad statement. It's my own observation that trades is no longer high in demand. It's averagely in demand, and I will explain why I'm saying this. Um, so some years ago, when the influx of people started coming, like a lot of people were trying to come into Canada that period, that's when most of the Canadians were making noise, blah, 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 that the housing cost has gone up, they don't have enough housing to house the newcomers, blah blah blah. A lot of noise. And then people are saying, okay, let's prioritize trades. Let's make the trade workers, the engineers, the plumbers, the welders, the HVAC people, the carpenters, the bricklayers. Let's make them priority and bring them in. So they made them priority, and a lot of provinces were making, like, a lot of provinces created pathways for, will I say a lot? I won't say a lot, but Ontario actually create a pathway for construction workers? But Ontario was making so much noise about needing construction workers anyway. Ontario has always had a general, like they have a general, they don't have specific draws apart from French, and then at one point tech workers. I don't think they had anything for trades. At one point, they also invited early childhood educators and healthcare, medical doctors, nurses, and all of that. They had those categories, but there was, they have trades, but I don't think it had a separate, what do you call it now, draw for trades. I don't think so, but they had trades. So, and during that period when they made so much noise that they needed more trade workers, and then the government now started putting all these measures in place. They started with all the measures as far back as 2023. That's when the demand for trade workers started going down. It's not as if it started going down immediately, but I mean, when the government makes announcement that, oh, there are too many people, let us reduce immigration, automatically it impacts the people that are demanding, right? So when the government allowed, when there was a free for all entrance into Canada, like too many people coming in on study permits, visitors visa, asylum claimants, there was demand for housing. But the moment the government started plugging the holes and say we don't want too many people, we will limit the number of people who are coming into Canada, this number of people for study permit, this number of people for work permit, this number of people for PR, of course, the demand for Canada reduced, and because of that, the demand for construction worker is also reducing. That's why I said it is not as high as in demand compared to how it was before. Because if they had left it as it was before, I think they would have been the number one after healthcare, or let's say they would have taken a higher priority. The trades construction people would have taken a higher priority over people that have French language skills. Because I mean, look at it critically. How many employers are actually using people with French language skills? Let's be realistic. Even me that have the French language skills, am I even using it to? Yes, I have it at to work, but am I really using it? I just hope you get my point. So if the government put in measures to restrict immigration where the demand for housing was coming from, it automatically reduces the number of people that they will want for trades. Because I mean, they are not bringing in more people again as they used to. If you check the numbers, some days ago I was reading an article where they said the number of study permit applications for this year dropped by 40% or 30% thereabout. Like about 40,000 or 50,000 people are not able to come in as students compared to before. But if the demand was high like before, then the trade construction workers would have been priority, like healthcare workers, they would have been priority. So right now it is averagely in demand, not really high in demand. But that doesn't mean that if you're a tradesperson, you do not have an opportunity. You have an opportunity. And for those who are engineers, tradespeople outside Canada, if you're looking for opportunities, the opportunities are there. In fact, the opportunities are more when it comes to trade workers, because you are more or less, how will I call it, self-employed people. Like you have this hands-on skill that they are looking for, right? So that's it. So in terms of which options are available, the major option that is available, number one, is express entry. So you have the trades category under express entry. And this year they have not done any draw for trades, but there was a memo that leaked out recently, was it yesterday or 2 days ago, that this year the number of invitations to apply that will go to people under the trade category is 3,000. That's what is stated there. The number of, let me see if I can pull up that information and read it again. The number of people, yeah, 3,300. The number of invitations to apply under express entry that will go to the trade category is 3,300. The number of invitations to apply that will go to education category is 3,000. The number of invitations to apply that will go to healthcare category is 8,000, right? Did you see it? Yeah. Last ex last federal express for trades was in 2024. Yeah, 2024. So they've not done any this year, which means if you're here and you're a construction person and you're a trades person, you're in the pool, please really position yourself well in the pool. And why do I say position yourself well in the pool? Please make sure that you at least have high scores within the 470s, 480s, 490s range. If your IELTS is low, try and max it out. If you're, what do you call it? I know it's not easy to get masters, but I mean, if you have the qualifications, if you have the expertise, if you're a plumber, if you're a welder, if you're a HVAC person, if you're a carpenter, I don't know whether carpenter is still on that list. Just check the category-based selection for trades. Make sure that if your occupation is there, please plug yourself into those occupations, because they have not done a draw yet and they'll be inviting 3,300 people. Right now, for what do you call it now, for healthcare, they said they were going to invite 8,000 people under healthcare, and they have actually invited 7,500 under healthcare. What is left under healthcare now is just 500. What is left under healthcare is 500. And for education, they said they are going to invite 3,000 people under education. They have invited 1,000 slots. What is left now for education is just 2,000 slots under invitation to apply for express entry. So trades, the number is still intact. That is 3,300. And if you're joining me here and you are under that trades category, please try as much as possible to boost your scores, because I think that by the time they do the draw, they might just do the draw once. Either they do the draw once or they might do the draw twice. We're already at the end of August, so we have September, October, November, December. We have 4 months to go. Or maybe they do the draw and they just do maybe 500, 500, 500 till the end of the month. Or if they do the draw once, 3,300, it means that there's a potential of inviting people within that have a low score range. So just position yourself well in the express entry pool so that if they do the draw for trades, you are invited. Okay, so that's it. And one thing that is under trades as well, I think cooks are under trades. I don't know why they put cooks under trades, but I don't know whether they consider it as a construction work or something like that. But funny enough, they put cooks under trades, and a lot of people are, I don't know. See, please, if you're here, let me say this. If you're here, right, and you have the habit of changing your knocks from one knock to another, please be careful. RCC is not smiling again. The days where they just overlook some things are gone. So please be careful so that you don't just change your knocks like that. Don't just go and start changing knock code. What I mean knocks, knock code, your knock code. Some people are just saying, okay, so they've not done trades, they might do trades. If I'm not being invited under other categories, I mean cook, they are not asking you to provide a certificate for cook. They are not asking you to provide to show. I mean, if you check ESDC requirement for cook, they just say cook, right? And everybody can claim to be a cook. Like anybody can claim to be a cook. It's just you showing evidence of where you were having the cook experience. But you have to be careful if you choose that knock code. So cook falls under trades category. If you know you are a cook, I mean, that is what you're doing. Like you have the evidence. When I mean evidence, you have evidence of salary payment into your account. If you are a self-employed cook under the trades category, self-employed, your business has to be completely registered. you must have a business bank account. That era of saying, oh, I receive money in my personal account, please don't bring that to IRCC. They don't recognize such stories. You must have your business bank account. You must show salary payment. You must show, what do you call it now, annual, especially for those from Nigeria. You must show your annual returns. You must show your tax clearance certificates. You must show evidence, and you must show evidence of at least a culinary. If you go into a culinary school, that's an added advantage for you. In fact, it's one of the best advantage that you have. But for those who do not have that experience and are trying to claim that cook expertise, please be careful so that your application is not returned to you, right? Or they don't hang your application in one corner, or they don't scrutinize things and then give you procedural fairness letters that you cannot defend. So yeah, be careful. They've not done the trades draw yet, but once they do the trades draw, there's a potential of, inviting everybody, whether you're a carpenter, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a welder. There's that potential that might invite everybody under that category. Okay, so that is it for express entry. If you are within this trade sector, you do not need a job offer. Again, it's just you writing your IELTS or self-PIP, evaluating your credentials, creating your express entry profile, being in the pool with high scores, not just being in the pool, be in the pool with high scores. High scores, 460s, 470s, 480s, 500s, anyone. Just be in this pool with high scores. Once they do the draw, you get an invitation to apply, you're good to go. So that is it for express entry. Now, in terms of provincial nomination, which provinces are prioritizing cook? Now, let's look at the provinces that are prioritizing cook. Number one, I'll start again according to alphabet. Alberta. Alberta is prioritizing cook under the Alberta Express Entry stream. They are prioritizing cook under the Alberta Express Entry stream. They call them priority occupations under construction, law enforcement, and aviation. So they are prioritizing construction workers under the Alberta Express Entry stream. It means that for you to get an invitation to apply from Alberta or a nomination from Alberta, you must have an express entry profile. If you do not have an express entry profile, it's going to be hard. You have an express entry profile, you have a job offer, and then you're good to go under the Alberta Express Entry stream. They did the last invitation for construction workers July 25, 2025. That's when they selected people to apply for provincial nomination in Alberta, and about 30, or is it 30 something or 60 something? I can't put the figure is not in my head. They invited those number of people for that particular route. So if you're here, if you're outside Canada, you're asking, okay, how can you position yourself to get provincial nomination from Alberta? Number one is to search for a job offer, construction work job offer in Alberta. Check that you are able to create an express entry profile. If you're able to create an express entry profile, good, you're good to go. But if you're not able to create an express entry profile, it means that you can search for a job offer in the rural renewal stream, right? For the rural renewal stream, any occupation is allowed, and you have to target the communities that are looking for construction workers in Alberta, so that once you get the job offer there, you get community endorsement, and then you apply for provincial nomination through the rural renewal stream. But the mainstream that has construction as priority is actually the Alberta Express Entry stream. So that's number one. Number two, we move to British Columbia. British Columbia is also prioritizing construction workers. They at least they put their names on the list there, but for this year, they said they're not prioritizing construction workers this year. Like I said, it's on the list of priority sectors. They have list of priority sectors, but the sectors that they are prioritizing for this year is only healthcare and entrepreneurs. We don't know if they will prioritize construction workers next year. And if you're still looking for opportunities in BC, then yes, get a job offer. But in terms of getting provincial nomination, you might wait for next year to determine if they will prioritize construction workers for next year. And they have a list of construction workers that they are looking for in British Columbia. Okay, so I need to mention this. In Alberta, they didn't provide any list of construction workers. They didn't specify, oh, we want HVAC, we want plumber. They didn't specify that. But in British Columbia, they specified the occupations that they want under the construction sector. And if your construction work is not listed in BC, that means you should forget about BC. You shouldn't be targeting BC, right? For all construction workers, you can target Alberta. All you need is a job offer. Same thing with BC, you need a job offer. But for BC, they have the list of occupations that they are looking for. So that is it for BC. Then if we move to Manitoba, Manitoba do not really have much, but they have a segment for trades. They have a segment for, well, yeah, trade workers. So it's still part of their occupation in demand. It's not as if they are prioritizing it. They just put it there, right? Manitoba is more like a general. They are doing everything is general now, but they still have some specific. Some from month to month they speak some specific. They'll say, okay, this month we want this month we want that. So that's it for Manitoba. And of course, for Manitoba, you need a family member. Again, if you don't have a family member, if you don't have a sibling or a cousin in Manitoba, the chances of you being selected in Manitoba, the chances are actually slim. You can actually try to target the ROCIP communities in Manitoba, which is Steinbach and Altona and Brandon and St. Pierre Jolie. And if you're able to get a job offer in those places, then you go through the, what do you call it now, through the ROCIP route. Same thing for BC as well. You can go through the ROCIP route, just in case you get a job offer in any of the ROCIP communities, because some of them also are looking for construction workers. Okay, so we move from Manitoba to the next province, which is New Brunswick. New Brunswick is also prioritizing construction workers. In fact, they were supposed to go for an international recruitment event to look for construction workers in Brazil. Is it Brazil? I'm forgetting that country now. Either Brazil or I think it's Brazil. They're supposed to go look for construction workers in Brazil, right? Yeah, so they are prioritizing construction workers, but they prefer their construction workers to come from a certain part of the world. They don't just say anytime anybody can just go ahead and get nomination from New Brunswick, right? They go to specific countries. Sometimes they will say they want to go to Mexico. Sometimes they will say they want to go to Senegal. Sometimes they will say they want to go to Brazil. So they select the country they want to go to look for their construction workers. That's what New Brunswick does. But that doesn't stop you from targeting New Brunswick if you feel that New Brunswick is the best province to get a job offer from. Target an AIP employer, an AIP construction employer. And if you're able to get a job offer as from an AIP employer, that means you're applying through the AIP route, not through the skilled worker route or priority occupation route. But construction workers are actually under the priority occupations. So if you're a student, let's say you came into Canada as a student and you're a construction student or construction worker, right? And you're in New Brunswick, there's a possibility of you getting an invitation to apply because they are prioritizing that occupation over other occupations. Okay, so that's it for New Brunswick. We move on to Nova Scotia. Nova Scotia actually has, will I call it, critical construction worker stream. They have a particular stream for that, critical construction worker stream. And they provided a list of occupations that are needed in that province, where if you get a job offer, you can stay there for 6 months and then you're eligible to apply for the critical construction worker stream. I think so. Critical construction worker stream for Nova Scotia. So that one is there for Nova Scotia. For Newfoundland and Labrador, they don't have any construction pathway. They don't at all, right? So except you go through the AIP route. Again, even for Nova Scotia, you can go through the AIP route. You can also get provincial nomination through the normal route. For Newfoundland and Labrador, no construction worker occupation is needed, but you can go through the AIP route. Let's say if you get a construction worker job, your employer has to be one of the designated employers under AIP for you to apply through the, through the AIP route. So that's it for Newfoundland and Labrador. Then for Prince Edward Island, they are also looking for construction workers. There was a time they went to the UK to hire carpenters. Yes, they went to the UK to look for carpenters. Was it early this year? I can't remember. Was it this year or last year? I read that article sometime this year or last year, where they went to the UK to look for carpenters, that they needed more carpenters in Prince Edward Island. And it's one of the occupations that they're prioritizing. They mentioned it on their list of occupations that they are prioritizing: healthcare, construction workers. So yeah, if you're a construction worker, target Prince Edward Island as well. Preferably target an AIP designated employer in Prince Edward Island, so that you can able to get an endorsement. With the endorsement, you apply for permanent residence, and then you're good to go. So that is it for construction workers. I already talked about Ontario, that Ontario, they didn't really make it a big deal. And funny enough, where the housing issues or where the complaints have been coming from in terms of how cost houses are is actually Ontario. I don't know why they didn't prioritize construction workers. Then for Saskatchewan, there's no stream for construction workers. For Saskatchewan, there's no stream. For, I don't know why they're even prioritizing agriculture. Like, Saskatchewan, please, what is going on with you? What is going on with you guys? Why are you guys prioritizing agriculture? Like, what? I don't understand. There's already the agri-food. Okay, the agri-food pilot, is it still in existence? I mean, that one has closed. If I can't even remember what that. See, there's a pathway called for the agri-food pilot pathway. That reminds me, that pathway, I don't know whether that pathway has closed. I need to check. It was a 5 years pilot program. Typically, when they come up with this, their pilot is usually 5 years long. After that 5 years, they can decide to close the program, or they make it a permanent program. Same thing when AIP started. AIP was a 5 years program, and then they made it a permanent program. When RNIP started, it was a 5 years program. Now RNIP has evolved to ROCIP, which is another 5 years program again. We don't know if it will close or if they will make it a permanent program after the end of the 5th year. So same thing with agri-food pilot. I don't know whether it's still open or closed. But my concern is, why is Saskatchewan prioritizing agri-food? Like, why are they prioritizing agriculture talent pathway? Like, why do they have just agriculture as a pathway, when there are other occupations that can be a pathway? Like, I know there are so many farmlands, but I mean, the weather also in Saskatchewan is not so great for people to even farm. Most farmers are actually in British Columbia than the prairies. But anyway, this is me just talking. Okay, so yeah, so that's just a summary. I know the next question will be, so how do we, for those people outside, how do we position ourselves, considering that some of these trades occupation require licensing? There's nothing in, I was just talking to somebody which day where I said that there's nothing in Canada that does not need licensing. Everything needs licensing. Maybe we'll soon need license to start drinking water. We will need license to start drinking water in Canada. Everything needs license. Like, everything needs license. You do license. So for trades, same thing. Most of the trades occupation requires licensing, or some form of apprenticeship, or some form of, one form of document or the other, for you to qualify for this pathway. And I mentioned some time back, I don't know whether it's one of these live sessions or maybe some other sessions, where I said, if you're in Nigeria and you are looking for a way to show the documents that shows that you're a qualified tradesperson, you have to go to the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. So if you are a welder apprentice, if you are a carpenter, if you're an apprentice, you've done your apprenticeship, you know how to do all these trade skills, but you learned it from an informal, of course, because where we are coming from, we do not really have. But although some people say there's a formal school, I think there used to be all these technical colleges that do all these things, but I don't know. It's God that will help our continent. But some countries do. I think countries like Ghana and South Africa and all of that, they have a formal school for trades, right? They have those formal schools for trades that are still in existence. For Nigeria, I don't know whether those schools are still in existence. So people get to learn some of these skills via the informal way, where you have to do an apprenticeship with somebody who is probably a welder. You do the apprenticeship, an informal apprenticeship, and after that, you are on your own. And there's no certificate or documents to show that you actually did an apprenticeship. So for you to get a recognized document, you have to go to the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment to get a formal document from the government to present to IRCC, because that's the only thing they understand, a formal document from the government that shows that you actually have a welder skill or a carpentry skill or a HVAC skill or a plumbing skill. Get a document from the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment. Yeah, okay. Thank you, Arinze. Thank you so much for that information. I really appreciate it. Thank you. I see that I've even forgotten whether that pilot is still open or closed. Anyway, so yeah, if you're here, you can get that particular qualification as part of your qualification, so that by the time you get an invitation to apply from the express entry, I'm talking about express entry now. If you get an invitation to apply from express entry and you're wondering what documents do you submit to show that you actually have the experience, the Federal Ministry of Labor Employment document is what is acceptable by IRCC to show that your qualification is actually recognized by the government of Nigeria. I'm talking about Nigeria now. I know because Ghana has their own, and maybe Zambia, Cameroon, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Kenya have their own documents to show that this apprentice or this plumber or this welder is recognized. Okay, so now the next question will be positioning yourself. How do you position yourself to get permanent residency? Number one, especially if your age range is above the age range for express entry, because express entry, there's an age factor, there's qualification factor, there's language factor, and there's adaptability factor. If you do not meet at least two of these factors or three of these factors, and you now have to rely on other pathways to get your status, you should be looking at provincial nominations. You should be looking at the Atlantic Immigration Program. You should be looking at the Rural Community Immigration Pilot. Now, how do you position yourself for these programs for provincial nomination? Number one is actually trying to get a job offer. Now, can you get a job offer with your qualification? Will you be recognized? To an extent, yes, it depends on the province that you're going to. And I will explain why I said so. In the past, Saskatchewan was the easiest province. I'm repeating myself again. In the past, Saskatchewan was the easiest province to actually get an invitation to apply. I say invitation to apply, sorry. An invitation, or I'm using the wrong words. Saskatchewan was the only province that you could submit your qualifications to, right? You could submit your qualifications from wherever in the world. You could submit your qualifications to them. They would evaluate and assess you, and based on that assessment, they will give you a letter and invite you to come and write an exam. You will write the exam. If you pass the exam, you get what we call certificate of qualification. When there was the federal trades draw years back, that was what people were using to get invited, or get at least invited to the federal trades. Now that they have not that they've not removed it, they just paused the federal trades, right? The federal trades draw, or it has now evolved from federal trades to the category-based selection for trades. Now that they have evolved it from federal trades to category-based selection for trades, the certificate of qualification is no longer needed. But if you want to get provincial nomination, because through express entry, COQ is not needed. All you need is just submitting your document and then you get your PR. But through the provincial nomination route, some of the provinces want to see that what you have is equivalent to what they are looking for. So they want you to start the process of licensing from outside. And like I said, Saskatchewan was the only province that was assessing people from outside Canada and giving them letters with which they would use to apply for visiting visa to come and write the exam. After they write the exam and they pass the exam, they get the certificate of qualification. With the certificate of qualification, people who were smart were able to hustle jobs, and then with the jobs, they were able to get provincial nominations and become permanent residents. That's what people used to do. Now, things have changed, and because things have changed, it's now becoming difficult. It is still there. Saskatchewan is still evaluating or assessing tradespeople from outside Canada. They still have the process and have the capacity to assess tradespeople from outside Canada. So you can take advantage of that and come in. And if you're smart, are able to connect with an employer that can hire you in Canada, you get a job offer, you're good to go. Or you switch from there to um, getting a red seal, because they also recognize the red seal qualification. So if you get a red seal qualification, you're able to get a job, and with that job, you apply for provincial nomination, depending on where you get the job offer from. So Saskatchewan is the easiest province to be able to get an invitation to come and write that exam. Other than that, Manitoba, they say you have to be a permanent resident first before you even write the exam. That's for Manitoba. As at when I called them, was it last year or 2 years ago? I can't remember. I think 2 years ago, Manitoba said you have to be a permanent resident. I don't know whether they've changed the rules, but that's what Manitoba said. Then Ontario, their own policy is quite difficult. Like, some people are able to get it, right? Some people are able to come and challenge the trades exam. They are able to submit the necessary documents to Ontario, get the invitation that will allow them come in to challenge. They call it challenging the trades exam. You challenge the trade exam, you get your certificate of qualification. With that, or you get the equivalent of a red seal. With that, you look for a job offer, and then you apply under the foreign worker stream. Under the foreign worker stream for OIMP. With that, you use it to get your permanent residency. So that's it for Ontario. For the Atlantic provinces, I don't know what their procedures are. Of course, this is one thing that gets me tired about Canada. Why we don't have a unified system? Why will a plumber in Saskatchewan not be able to practice as a plumber in Ontario? I'm tired. I don't know. Somebody needs to carry placard. Maybe I would be the one to start carrying placard that we should have a unified system so that they can remove all these bottlenecks that are disturbing people's lives. Okay, so that is it. That is just a summary of how you can position yourself, how you can, if you want to come and write the exam, write the trades exam, use that opportunity to try to get a job offer. I mean, Saskatchewan is the best bet. And I'll put the link on the committee. Again, this is part of the things I said, that a lot of things are just piling up, and I need to clear them. So I'll put the link on the community tab, so that if you're a trades person looking for a way to come to Canada to challenge the trades exam, and then use that opportunity. Again, I said, so you're just coming for an exam. It is now left for you to plan yourself very well. What I mean by planning yourself very well, plan yourself in the sense that you have to use one stone to see how you can achieve or kill three birds. Using one stone by coming to Canada to write exam, and then using it to kill birds, right? When I mean kill birds, use it to search for a job offer within the construction sectors, get the job offer, and then apply for work permit. And once you have met the requirement to apply for provincial nomination, you apply for provincial nomination and you are good to go. Okay. So, but in terms of just getting the job offer like that from outside, yes, it's possible. There are levels of, okay, so let me explain. There are some people, let's say you were a mechanical engineer, or you are a mechanical engineer. Of course, mechanical engineering is a higher qualification than the Red Seal mechanics, right? And because you have a higher qualification, there is no point you coming to challenge the trades exam. You can actually get a job offer as a mechanic if you're able to search for mechanic jobs, or panel beater, anything within that range of fixing cars, right? You can search for job opportunities in those places, and you do not need another license or another qualification for you to get a job offer. All you need is what you have. That's your educational qualification as a mechanical engineer, and with hands-on experience. Because there's one thing about, again, there's a huge disparity between those who have a higher educational qualification and those who learnt their skills hands-on. I mean, because a lot of people who go to school at the university level, they know mainly the theoretical aspect of things. They don't know the practical aspect of things. It's only when you really apply yourself, especially if you're the type that really wants to apply yourself by doing hands-on things, that's when you know the hands-on skills. So if you are a mechanical engineer and you are very very hands-on, you're doing fantastically well as a mechanic. I'm using mechanic as an example. Then you can search for mechanic jobs. You would not need any certificate or anything because you already have a qualification at a higher level. They will not stress you. You just get a job offer. Depending on the province you get the job offer from, you'll be able to apply for provincial nomination. So that's an idea I'm giving to anybody. So if you find yourself within these higher qualifications, let's say you're a civil engineer, right? You're a civil engineer, but you are hands-on, very, very much hands-on, and you can work as which example should I give now? You can work as, should I use bricklayer? Bricklayer is too low. Bricklayer is too low for a civil engineer. I mean, from civil engineer to bricklayer, what a downgrade. I know some people say, that's too much of a downgrade, you know. And for lack of examples to use, I'm just using bricklayer. Please forgive me. I'm not insulting you, please. Don't feel insulted. Right? For lack of a good example, that's I'm talking about. So you have the higher qualification. Now, within the higher qualification, look for the let me use the word entry level hands-on work that you can do. I gave example of mechanical engineer doing mechanic work, right? That's mechanic is entry level, but if you look at it technically, it's not really entry level. But I mean, as a mechanical engineer, it's broad. Mechanical engineering is broad, but you can use your mechanical engineering expertise to do mechanic work, and you can get a mechanic job offer. With that job offer, you apply for work permit or apply for provincial nomination or apply for permanent residence through AIP, and you're okay. You're good to go. You don't need to go and do Federal Ministry of Labor apprenticeship qualification and all of that, because the government recognizes that your qualification is at a higher level. It's the same thing I mentioned for doctors. You are a doctor, but I mean, you cannot practice as a doctor in Canada, so you look for a clinical assistant role, right? Same thing for pharmacists. You're a pharmacist, but you can't practice as a pharmacist. You look for a pharmacy assistant role. So same thing, you're a mechanical engineer, look for a mechanic work. If you're a civil engineer, look for the entry level work. Let me not use bricklayer because bricklayer is too low. Okay, so you see, okay, you say this is what Ola is saying. I know someone who came for a job with MB government as auto technician because he has red seal. So this is fantastic. Because he had red seal, he was able to come in. So that's what I'm trying to say. Try to get these red seal qualifications. That's another thing I need to mention too. It's also good to get these red seal qualifications, because if you get this red seal qualification, it's a total game changer. It's a huge game changer. I was talking to one of my very very good, is my paddy. I don't know whether he's part of this session. I don't know whether he will call me after this session now. He is an engineer, used to be an engineer working with the oil and gas company, one of the oil and gas companies in, is it Saudi Arabia or Qatar? I can't remember. One of those Gulf countries, all those oil and gas countries now. Is it Qatar? I don't know. Either Qatar or Saudi Arabia, or one of those share countries, right? But he came to Canada, and the type of he's not looking to even get his engineering license. According to him, he said he doesn't want his engineering license, that they should keep his engineering license. He wants the red seal, those red seal trades one. That is the one he's looking for, because he said that's where the money is, not the engineering is just name. According to him, he said it's just name. The name is not adding money in his pocket. He wants the red seal. But my special oga, I don't know whether he's part of this session. He's always my special big oga from Manitoba, Mr. Roland. Yes, Mr. Roland. Mr. Roland also, I don't know whether it's good to talk about him, but he's also an engineer and also got his engineering license. Probably I should even bring, if it's possible to even bring him on live so that he can talk about the process that he went through to get his engineering license and the benefits of having an engineering license in Canada. There are two categories of people. There are the engineers that do not want to go back to get their license. They just want to be at the red seal level. and there are engineers that want to go back to getting their engineering license. So you have to choose which one you want. Are you the type of the engineer that you want to go back and get your engineering license? Of course, you know it's going to take you another 2 years, 3 years to get a license. Or do you want to just do the red seal route? If you go through the red seal route, I mean, you might be packing money, right? You'll be packing money at that level. Okay, so that's just, I've talked too much. I've not even answered one question. Jesus Christ. Okay, so that's just it for today. If I continue talking, we will not exhaust this topic. But I mean, I just felt that you should know the difference. If you're also an sorry, tongue twisted. If you're an architect, right? If you're an architect, look for the entry level role and get a job offer in that entry level role. It will help you than you trying to chase the architect license or whatever. I mean, that one is stressful. Look for the entry level role. If you're able to get a job offer at the entry level role, depending on the province where you get the job offer from, you can apply for permanent residency through that route. Okay, so I'll just take a few questions today. I just hope I'm able to answer a few questions. Okay. I don't know whether there is any question. No. Okay, this question. I'm a carpenter in Nigeria. What option do I have, and how can I go about it? So okay, so for carpenters, right, the options that are available are, I mentioned all the provinces. I mentioned Alberta. I mentioned British Columbia. It's prioritized in British Columbia. So if you're able to get the job offer in British Columbia, you're good to go. But of course, it requires red seal. So you have to find a way to come and write the certificate of qualification exam before you're able to get a job offer, right? So yeah. So if you're able to get a job offer, or you have to start the licensing process first, because getting the job offer might not be feasible. But if you start the licensing process, you come in, because some of the licensing process will require you to come and write an exam. You come in, you write the exam, you pass the exam, you're able to use that exam to convert it to red seal or the equivalent. There are levels of the red seal requirements. You get a job offer, and then apply for provincial nomination through that route. There are some provinces like Manitoba that actually were looking for carpenters. Like Morden was looking for carpenters at some point, but they've scrapped it. They're no longer prioritizing carpenters again. And for that one, you don't even need to come in and write the exam. They just hire you off the bat. You just apply for provincial nomination and you come in. Okay. Please, what's the update on that Canada introducing a new immigration pathway to offer legal status and permanent residence to undocumented construction workers? So again, this is part of one of the things that the former government promised, and the new Liberal government, they are just taking their time. Somebody is saying that the new Minister for Immigration is too quiet. They are just taking their time to do things, to regularize undocumented immigrants. Pierre Poilievre is back, and he's now, of course, when Pierre Poilievre comes back, there will be so much noise at the parliament, right? So when they do those, what do they call it now? There's a name they call this, their banter that they have at the parliament. So by the time somebody makes noise about it, probably they'll talk about how they will regularize things, because it's like the new immigration minister she's very quiet. She's maybe doing her thing silently. So probably nobody has poked her enough to say, you guys do something about undocumented immigrants. Maybe if Pierre Poilievre starts talking about it, of course, Pierre Poilievre, his way of thinking is everybody should leave Canada. That's according to him. Everybody, what are you doing about the people that work permit are expiring? What are you doing about the illegal blah blah blah? That's the noise they like to make, right? According to them, they want people to leave. But the liberal government, they are trying to regularize things. That's what I see. I feel that they want to regularize things. Maybe they have not really figured out how and the criteria. I think that's what I would think. They've not figured out the criteria to make undocumented construction workers documented yet. Maybe when they figure it out, they will make the announcement. Or it might be one of those announcements that may not come to life. Who knows? Because again, the demand for construction workers, like I said, is average. It's no longer high as it used to be before. It was high if things were still the same where they were, everybody was coming in. Construction workers would have been priority. They would have given them maybe 10,000 invitation to apply slots or not. Yeah, they would have given them 10,000 slots. But everybody, people that are coming in, it has dropped by 30% or 40%. So there's really, the demand is not that much. Like the demand is not much. And then you have a lot of people who are singing, this is not the best time to buy a house. This is not the best time to buy a house. If you buy a house, it is a waste of money. So when people are saying don't buy a house, nobody is buying a house. There's no demand for housing, right? So what will the construction workers do when there is no demand? There has to be demand for the construction workers to work. And if the demand is not there, then there will really be no demand. There will really be no need for the construction workers. Okay. So let me see. Let me see. For a trade person, once you get a Red Sea certification, it gives you an advantage to work in that. Yeah, tradespeople, like, I mean, it's the bomb. They are the low key billionaires of this country. Low key billionaires. Okay. Is seriously, Pierre Poliev is a drama king. He's a drama king. I like that. I like that he's making the House of Commons, lively, right? I like that. When Trudeau was in power, it was really lively. Like you be hearing so much noise every week. Every week, too many news. But now that Macan is in power, I don't know. It's just been quiet. So let Pierre Poliev go back and shake them a little bit so that they can come up with announcements. But then let it be positive announcements, not negative announcements. Again, because these people, I once the opposition starts making noise, that's when the people in power start reacting. They start doing things, and before you know, they are is spoiling a lot of things already. The number of schools that are complaining about job loss, about revenue loss, and everybody is turning blind ears or turning deaf ears and turning blind eyes is alarming. For this country not to have gone into recession is just by the grace of God. Because again, I feel that they are not doing things well. That the people complaining about too many people, they are not supposed to complain about too many people, because the land mass of this country is much. Canada is the second largest country in the world, and I don't know why we are having a very tiny population compared to the US. US does not even have the land mass that Canada has. But see the population of the US. Why can't we adopt the same thing like the US? And that's why the orange man is bullying us. Today we will come out and talk one tariff. Next tomorrow he will say I remove the tariff and put a tariff again. Honestly, sometimes I just get tired about this whole Canada just being too laid back in certain things. They should ramp up. For me personally, the land mass is large enough, is big enough to accommodate people. Yes, there might be issues with social infrastructure. Yeah, there might be issues with that in terms of the healthcare, where again, if population is trying to increase, some infrastructures will suffer, and that is where the construction workers come in. Because I mean, the construction workers are needed to put those infrastructures in place. So now they are doing healthcare draws. They are inviting 8,000 healthcare workers. They are inviting 3,000 education teachers, right? They are inviting these people. And yet the workers that will do that will build the infrastructure for those people, the workers are not yet here. Like I sometimes I get annoyed when I see. I'm not saying that they shouldn't invite, but I feel they should come up with a better solution that will affect all aspects of life in terms of social infrastructure. Invite small healthcare workers, or make the licensing requirements easy for healthcare workers. Yes, just make the license requirement easy. Let more healthcare workers start practicing in their field, and then we will not have this complaint of healthcare workers. And then construction workers can be building their houses, and then more people are coming in, and the population is increasing. But they want to remain small. That's I don't know. I don't know why Canada is like this. Anyway, let me answer this one question, and then I'll call it a day. I am a plumber in Nigeria and have only primary school certificate. What can I do to fit in? But I also have trade test certificate. So primary school certificate is acceptable, but I think the minimum requirement is actually a secondary school certificate. That's what I would say. The minimum requirement is a secondary school certificate, not primary school. But you have to apply to come in to write the exam, to challenge the exam. Once you challenge the exam, you get the equivalent of a red seal. With that, you can use it to get a job offer and then apply for provincial nomination. Okay. So, okay, thank you. So, civil engineering, bricklayer. I said the example is okay. I'm just imagining how a civil engineer is working as a bricklayer. Please don't be offended. But I'm just in my head. I'm like, that level is too. There's no level that is low. But I mean, like, you go to school, study civil engineering, and then you're coming to start carrying bricks. Abba, now are you going to the gym? Please don't be offended though. It's not me. I'm not laughing. I'm just like thinking how low. There should be other better options than just bricklayer. I mean, bricklayer is very, very low. There should be a better option. Okay. For life made the parliament the past election are still in their cocoon. A lot have not recovered. Don't talk like this. So, do you know? Even my baby was singing to the song that conservatives, what do you call it, the advert, there was this advert that conservatives were playing. We want a real change. My baby would say, yes, we want a real change. Election period. This one I'm laughing for Canada. It is well. Anyway, I really enjoyed myself today. Okay, thank you so much for joining me from wherever you are. I really appreciate all of you. I really appreciate the interaction. I'm so grateful. I hope you're able to learn one or two things from today's live session that you can apply for your immigration journey. For construction workers, again, I said for trades, there's the category-based selection for trades in the express entry. If you don't want to stress yourself with the whole stress of trying to write exam, pass the exam, look for job, then position yourself in the express entry, because that's the easiest one. Now, you positioning yourself for express entry, try to get high scores. They are yet to do a trades draw. They have 3,300 invitations that they will issue for trades. So there's a possibility for you to get an invitation to apply through trades. And I also mentioned that cooks are also part of the selected occupations under trades. Now, if you know you are a cook, please make sure that your documents are tight. What I mean by documents, you have evidence of your qualification as a cook or as a chef. There's a difference between chef and cook. Funny enough, they have different knock codes, right? Please go and look at the job description of a cook versus the job description of a chef on the ESDC website, and know the difference. A chef has a different knock code, a cook has a different knock code. Don't go and mix the two up and say you're a cook. That is it. That get the necessary documents. You must show evidence that you're employed in you are employed as a cook. You have proof of salary payment into your account, right? If you are self-employed, you have to show evidence of your registered business, evidence of your business bank account, evidence of your tax return, evidence of your annual return, evidence of your culinary certificates if you have any, cook certificates, right? Just position yourself in the express entry. But if you cannot do through express entry, you have to come and write exam. Get your qualifications assessed by the Ministry of Labor and Employment in Nigeria. Come in, write the exam, get your certificate of qualification. With that, you try to hustle a job. And then for people who are the higher level, like mechanical engineers, look for an entry level job. You don't need any qualification. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of you. I am so grateful and hope to see you. Like I mentioned, I said I have a lot of backlog, which I have to attend to tomorrow and on the 30th. 30th was officially the day I landed in Canada as a permanent resident 9 years ago. Unfortunately, I will not be coming on live on that day. I'll come on live on the 31st of August. And I'll be talking about my 9 years journey in Canada, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything that you need to know about me living in Canada for 9 years and what it is like if I'm tired or if I want to go back to my country. Should I go back home? Thank you so much. Thank you, and see you on August 31. So thank you. I really appreciate all of you. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.